Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk to plan for an emergency. Pack basic supplies in a go bag: water, canned food, flashlights, batteries, medical supplies, IDs, and some cash. Talk about where you'll meet in case you lose one another. And of course, don't forget to pack the dog treats. Talk to your family and make an emergency plan. Go to nyc.gov/readyny or call 311 to make your family's emergency plan. Brought to you by New York City Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Anne Margaret. I went to Vietnam to entertain the troops in 1966 and 1968. My guys, my gentlemen, if you lived through the Vietnam War era, you know the impact that the war had. But today, we are in danger of history being lost. Current generations know very little about the war or the people who served it. As more of our Vietnam vets pass away each day, their stories are being lost to history. Together, we can change that. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund is the organization that built the wall. It works to ensure that future generations will understand the war's impact. Let's help keep the promise that the wall was built on. Never forget. Visit vvmf.org to find out how you can get involved.
Donors choose. Support a classroom. Build a future.
Did you know that every year, public school teachers spend nearly $500 of their own money for student supplies? Let's do the math. That comes out to over $1.2 billion a year. And that's just not right. At Donors Choose, we want students and teachers to have the tools they need for a great education. And now, more than ever, they need your help. Here's what you can do. Go to DonorsChoose.org and choose from teachers' requests that support reading, math, science, history, and more. Once a request is funded, we'll take care of shipping everything directly to the teacher. It's that easy. You'll receive thank you letters and photos from students and teachers and a report of how every dollar was spent. Teachers' needs have never been greater. Learn more at DonorsChoose.org.
Donors choose. Support a classroom. Build a future.
United by sports. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana. Powered by Pepsi. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome into the Rib Crib Radio Room. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on a beautiful Friday afternoon. We've got Adam Goff on the ones and twos. Caveman Rick's on the cameras. We've got Kyle Hall in the building with us. I'm David Hayes. What is going on? Give us a call or text or a Facebook comment. 850-215-6290 is the number to reach us at via call or text. On this day in 2010, LeBron James shocked the world with the decision via ESPN special that he would be leaving the Cavaliers and taking his talents to South Beach, which has become an infamous quote. Mm-hmm. What's the next move for LeBron James, AG?
No, he's staying with the Lakers.
Of course, that. But are they going to win? What's the next move for the Lakers?
Well, it depends on what happens.
That's why I said LeBron James.
Yeah, but I mean, it depends on what happens with the Russell Westbrook contract and
de facto GM.
And I mean, do they get Kyrie? Is there a way that they can make that happen? Who knows? I mean, there's still a lot of moving pieces there. And can LeBron play a full season? He's not a spring chicken anymore. I mean, he's had injuries the last couple of years that have derailed him.
Still playing a lot more than street clothes AD is, though. I feel like
absolutely,
that's
100%.
I feel like that's the piece that you have to monitor more than anything. I know that you heard a lot about Russell Westbrook last year and his lack of shooting. I say let him try to facilitate if he can be a team player. But also, he needs to do something like what James Harden came out and did today and take a little bit of a pay cut so that they can put some depth around LeBron James and whoever it is that's going to be number 2 around there. Because if it's Anthony Davis, I feel like you're going to get a replica of last year. I mean, I just don't see it coming from those 2 guys because AD can't stay healthy. And LeBron James, I mean, heck of a season last year, though, as far as individual goes. But if LeBron James is going to continue chasing the ghost, those individual statistics don't matter. It's all about team success at this point because you're chasing championships.
Well, and then you're going to put another championship on the board for the Lakers, one of the more storied programs or franchises in NBA history. So, and AD, I mean, we've seen what that dude's doing. We call him street clothes, but he hadn't touched a basketball in how long? I mean, come on, man, really?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go, dude. You're trying to win rings.
You're supposed to be a professional.
Exactly.
And I wasn't even planning on going this route today. I just wanted to bring up the on this day. But how would you feel if you're LeBron James and Jeannie Buss comes out and says Kobe Bryant was the greatest Laker ever? Now, obviously, he was, or one of the greatest Lakers to ever do it.
He was.
And
she's got a bigger relationship with Kobe.
No doubt, but if you're LeBron James, like, she didn't even have to come out and say that, but she's basically saying, I miss having a guy that's all about the Lakers here, because LeBron's always like, oh, I'd love to go play with Steph Curry, or I'd love to go.
Or go wherever my kids can get drafted to.
Well, that though, I wouldn't say those things. I wouldn't make those remarks public, or I would be talking with the front office of the Lakers like, hey, if we can make a deal happen to get my kid here whenever he's draft eligible, let's make that happen, because I would like to go out playing with my son. I think that would be a cool story. King Griffey Sr., King Griffey Jr., one of the coolest stories ever to happen in baseball history with the back-to-back home runs. I mean, anytime you get to talk about that or get to thinking about, we had a question yesterday in Rapid Fire, what is a clutch moment in sports history? I don't know if that's necessarily clutch, but it's
I think it's
moment
clutch
in sports history that gets you hype anytime you think about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember being a kid and watching it happen, live.
I remember being a kid and
It was a late game.
watching it on YouTube.
No. I mean, I remember watching it because I thought, okay, well, there's one, and now here's the other one. Can he do the same thing?
Can he
And
do
sure
it?
enough, and it's just like there was the Cardinals had back-to-back home runs the other day. I remember watching a Red Sox game probably 10 years ago, and all 4 of them went over the Green Monster.
That's wild.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Right, so you remember things like that. Like, I couldn't tell you who the 4 were that hit the ones for Boston, but I mean, it was pretty awesome to see that kind of feat. So
I mean, just back-to-back home runs in and of themselves are.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Especially
Then you get
back-to-back pitches.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Back-to-back pitches.
Yeah, or 2 grand slams.
2 grand slams.
Yeah, like
Yankees.
in the same game. Yeah.
Right. It's huge.
Stupid Yankees. Golly, they're playing such good baseball. But we're going to find out later in Rapid Fire today. I don't think we'll be too rapid with this discussion, but, will it fizzle out or will they go all the way? Now, the last time that they were at 60 wins in this short of a span of time, they were the World Series champions back in, 2002, I believe. So we'll see how that plays out. But the Atlanta Braves last night did take a loss in Game 4 of the series to the St. Louis Cardinals. But Spencer Strider, y'all.
he's good.
Dude, he is becoming so fun to watch. He's electric. We're going to get a little bit more into the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, go ahead.
I just have
Go
a
ahead.
question
Yeah.
for you. Is he there in the playoffs? Can his arm hold up? He's never done it before.
I'm going to defer to Kyle on this one, and then I'll go after that.
Okay.
I think it's hard to say.
Does he take a respite? Do they IL him for 30 days and just let him sit and do nothing?
Maybe there's a risk to that on the other side too. But I think that, why not at this point, right? Once they get there, he's definitely proven himself so far. So, how else would you know? Because they got the playoff version and the regular season version of people. So, you put him out there and just take your chance.
Yeah, because I think where you're getting at is this is his first full season, right? Or will be if he lasts a full
65
season.
innings, I think, was the most he's ever pitched in one year, and
Right.
that was any level of professional baseball.
So will that take a toll on him later on into the season? I don't know. Maybe, but he's a young guy. And then you also have the bullpen is going to get deeper as we get closer to the All-Star break, the trade deadline, not because of any trades that we're going to make, but because Kenley Jansen's on the IL right now. Kirby Yates, who knows how that's going to work out, but he's on the IL right now. Got him last year for this year. Soroka did take a ball to the knee the other day, so his rehab has been set back a little bit. We'll see how that all plays out, but looking at it now, it looks like they would be deeper, and if they're deeper, then I think as you get to that September before the playoffs, you don't IL because you don't want to ruin that hot streak if he continues the hot streak, right?
Sure.
But you lessen the pitch count for him.
A little bit of load management.
Yeah, a little bit of load management, a little bit of Kawhi Leonard.
Right.
The kid's good though. In MLB's modern era, he's the first rookie since 1900 with 11 plus strikeouts and 2 or fewer hits. That's what's more impressive to me is, I love the 11 plus strikeouts, but to do that and still keep the hits at 2 or under in your 6-inning starts.
You're missing bats.
Yeah, exactly. And he does it. Not only can he do it with the heat, because we've seen him, he can bring the heat, right? But he's also got some nice off-speed stuff as well that kind of changes the balance for the hitter. So I'm loving what we're seeing out of Spencer Strider. Struck out everybody in the lineup on the Cardinals last night except for Nolan Arenado. But still very impressive outing for him last night. Will Smith came in, jumbled it all up, and kind of gave it up for him. Michael Harris did tie it up in the bottom of the 7th. But extra innings has definitely been something to watch for the Braves this year because they have not been good in extra innings. I believe we're 2-6 in games that we've went to extra innings this year. So that's not a great sign because if you think about it, the Mets, who I believe in their extra inning games are 5-0.
6-0, I believe. Actually.
Okay, maybe 6-0. We're 3.5 games back. There's your 3.5 games right there.
Right.
You got to get better, especially when we get to the playoffs. And I swear, Rob Manfred, if we have, and I don't like the term ghost runner, even though everybody's using it. I'd rather just call them like clown runners or Manfred runners or something like that. But if we get to the playoffs,
can we just call them Freds?
Call them Freds. I like that. I like that a lot. If we get to the playoffs,
Freds on second.
They don't utilize that in the playoffs. I can't remember last year. I don't think so.
Or got into the 15th inning or something. Maybe they were talking about so that they can try to get games done if they go. I think everybody's fine with watching games into the 17th inning, 18th inning.
I'm good.
You're already invested that long.
Right.
I mean, just
what was it? Astros Cardinals went 18 several years ago in the playoffs.
Oh, in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Astros Cardinals, that would have been a World Series. Oh, wait, no.
The Astros were in the Central.
Astros were in the National League.
I think it was. Somebody chime in and help me out there.
I want to say the Braves and the Astros definitely had some long games into the playoffs.
I'm pretty sure the Cardinals. The Astros I'm not too sure about, but yes, definitely the Cardinals I remember, I think, it being in there for sure.
You listen to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Continuing to talk about Spencer Strider, 65 strikeouts since joining the Braves rotation. That's the 4th most strikeouts in a pitcher's first 8 career starts in the last 30 years behind, get these names, Kerry Wood, great, Steven Strasburg, injuries of late, but when he first came on, I think the biggest setback for Steven Strasburg was not just the height. I think that the height played a role there, but he's not Randy Johnson size either. He had a little bit of weight to him.
He had a big workload, though, when he first came up.
That's a great point, too, and you're playing for the Nationals. That's just a little bit of hate there. And then also Mashiro Tanaka. The oldest another tidbit from the game last night, Albert Pujols, who's the oldest active player and the youngest active player, and Michael Harris II, both had an RBI in the same game last night. That hadn't happened since 1975 when Brewers teammates Hank Aaron and Robin Yount did it in the same game several times, but we did lose in 11 innings, 3-2 last night. Got the Nationals tonight. One thing that did stand out to me, and I'm sure stood out to a lot of Atlanta Braves fans last night, you can't win games going 1 of 15 with runners in scoring position. That we've got to get better at that. Back to when we were under 500, I remember saying I gave 3 reasons why the Braves are struggling right now, and that was the biggest thing. First off, they weren't getting the guys in scoring position to be able to get the ducks off the pond.
Yeah, it's small ball. Y'all are missing that small ball because y'all have the big flies.
Oh, they got the big flies.
But that's the problem right now is that if you don't hit it out of the park, they're not scoring.
Yep.
Speaking of those Yankees, man, they earned their 60th win of the season, 83rd game of the season, which is tied for the second fewest games needed to reach 60 wins in franchise history. They got there in 80 games. It was not 2002. It was 1998. That was the year that they won the World Series. We're on the radio, 104.3 FM, 102.1 FM in Marianna. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and with our TV partner, Blab TV. If you don't have them with your TV service provider, if you got a Fire Stick or Roku TV, then you can get their channel there. Be sure to like and share our Facebook page. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Download the new app and register all at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Now, we do have a Philadelphia 76ers fan in the building with us. What are your thoughts on James Harden taking this $15 million pay cut and then planning to sign a 2-year deal with him, which the second year would have a player option?
I'm actually a little surprised that he's being a little giving. Back when he was playing for Houston, for instance, he was talked about being a pretty selfish player, making like the teammates get held up on the plane and whatnot and wait for him before they can take off. So I'm kind of surprised he's taking a team-friendly deal. I'm sure he's buddies with Daryl Morey. They've talked. They got stuff worked out. You know what I'm saying? He knows like he's going to be taken.
He's got a
care
Bobby
of.
Bonilla contract thing
so,
coming.
Like he said, he's going to get paid in the end. So I'm sure, wink, wink, that is part of the deal. But good for I guess the 76ers. Personally, I think we probably would be better off if we moved away from James Harden and got some more younger talent in there to replace him. But it is what it is. So hopefully, with us moving on from Ben Simmons and a fresh new start to the year with Harden, we can see, with him and Embiid, maybe they can, make something happen and we can get past second round. All positive thought and outlook so far, but, I don't know.
Now, how are we thinking as baseball fans here? Do you got any thoughts to add to that?
I'm good, yeah.
With Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols being selected to the All-Star game for career accomplishments, how do we feel about that? We'll start with you, AG.
As long as it doesn't take a roster spot from somebody else deserving, I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only thing. Like in golf, when they're like, "Oh, we're going to give these guys the, and the honor of being here and blah blah blah,"
like a lifetime achievement,
right? Like if it's all fine and good as long as they don't take somebody else's spot. Honor them because we're going to talk about this later. Is one of my, I didn't even know you had this in the rundown here, but it was one of my things I texted you this morning was, these two are two guys I wanted to talk about.
Just because I do have that question later on.
Just because of what they've done for baseball in their tenure. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think that because it's not taken away from a roster spot, I'm cool with it because these guys are legends of the game. You're going to have one on the American League side, one on the National League side. Right. I saw a joke from Ben Verlander on Twitter today that if they get to extra innings, they should have to do basically run polls, and whoever wins, their team wins the All-Star game. But what he forgot was that, or I'm assuming he forgot, maybe he didn't, but they said after the lockout this year that if the All-Star game goes to extra innings, they're going to finish it off with a home run derby type deal. I don't know any details to any of that, but if you're letting these guys come on,
throw them two out.
They need to be out there.
Yeah. Or if we have teams of 3 or something like that, you can get Vladdy and Trout out there on the American League team and then take, Pete Alonso and whoever. Well, I don't know. Who do you guys got going at first base? As far as starters go, you got Paul Goldschmidt and Pete Alonso. Those are your options.
As a Reds fan, I'm saying Goldie. The dude's incredible.
Dude, Goldschmidt's having a heck of a year.
I think Alonso will probably get the votes, though.
Yeah?
Because of the
I don't know. St. Louis shows up in droves, man. We'll see.
Yeah.
But what I would like to see in this All-Star game is take Miggy and take Albert, and if a runner reaches third, let them pinch run for that person and not affect the game and let them run and score runs in the game. I think that would be cool.
Oh, they get to anytime a player gets to
like
third.
in softball, you're like, we're subbing this guy in, right? Same thing in the All-Star game. Let Miggy and Pujols go into third base and pinch run. How cool would that be?
The slowest guys on the team are going to be up pinch run. I love it.
It's like DH backwards, like reverse
DH.
Right.
ER. We've got our PR out here.
Yeah.
That would be actually pretty cool because they would set a record more than likely, right, for the most runs scored in an All-Star game.
If they end up scoring, yeah. I mean, I think that would be cool.
Hey, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. David Hayes, Adam Goff, Caveman Rick, Kyle Hall. We're going to take a quick time out. We're going to be right back.
This is your captain speaking. Thank you for flying with ESPN Northwest Florida. Please return to your seats, buckle up, and prepare for launch.
It will lay down. Base hit. Here comes Ronald. Braves win it.
The defending world champion Atlanta Braves are sponsored by Bill Burr Kia, Beltway Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Ellis Agency Insurance, and ESPN Northwest Florida. And we apologize for any turbulence you've experienced this season with the Atlanta Braves.
Spotty showers and thunderstorms overnight. Temperatures right around 80. Light southwest winds. Saturday and Sunday, partly sunny and hot, 85 to 92. Light southwest winds and spotty showers and thunderstorms over the course of the weekend, especially on Saturday. We'll keep you updated. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hear that? That's the sound of safety and the sound of your family's belongings staying where they belong. In times like these, it's important to know how to protect your home, your family, and your valuables. A good strong lock on a solid door and frame can make a huge difference. Most burglars will spend no longer than a minute trying to break in. That's only as long as this radio announcement. Remember to lock your doors and windows. Even the best locks can't protect you unless you use them. Install bright outdoor lighting. If you have an alarm system, use it, and post signs that say your home has an alarm. Trim bushes and trees so your house is clearly visible to your neighbors and your street. If you ever return home to find that someone has broken in, do not enter. Call the police immediately. To learn more on how to keep your home and family safe, visit ncpc.org. That's ncpc.org. Let's all work together to keep our homes safe and sound. A message from the U.S. Department of Justice, National Crime Prevention Council, and the Ad Council.
Visit driversed.com. Attention drivers. Did you know that drowsy driving can be just as dangerous as drinking and driving? Drowsy driving causes more than 1,500 deaths per year and nearly 10% of all road accidents. Getting enough sleep, avoiding late car rides, and being aware of your medication's side effects are crucial to everyone's safety on the road. For more on drowsy driving, visit driversed.com, the #1 resource for all things driving safety.
Show your support for live local radio by voting David Hayes as your favorite afternoon radio personality in the News Herald's Best of the Day.
Go vote. It feels good.
Vote now at ESPNPC.com. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Inside the Rib Crib Radio Room, ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, home of the 5-year flyaway to see the Atlanta Braves. This is a great contest. Can't wait for it. It starts this Monday, July 11th, and we'll be listing, or you guys got to listen weekdays at 8:45 in the morning with Coach Hale, 5:15 right here with us on the Afternoon Underdogs. We'll tell you a little bit more about that later on in the show, but today we've got Tony Schmaltz in the building with us here in the Rib Crib Radio Room, part of the Upgrade Your Life Tour. This is Saturday and Sunday, September 17th and the 18th. Tell us a little bit about yourself and then what Upgrade Your Life is, Tony.
Absolutely. So thanks for having me on. So the Upgrade, myself, I'm a success coach. I've been, helping coach people for more than 20 years through the corporate world, and, went on my own about 3 years ago. And so after a few months of that, I was like, you know what? Panama City Beach needs something like Tony Robbins style. I need to bring something out here, really fire people up and help people grow their lives, their businesses. And so came up with this idea for the Upgrade Your Life Tour and got some big names coming. We got, Les Brown, Tom Ziegler, who's son of Zig Ziglar. We got Kevin Sorbo, formerly Hercules from the 90s show. And just found out we might have a couple other people showing up. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and everyone's going to gain so much out of this.
This is great stuff. And where is this event going to be at?
This is going to be at the Edgewater Resort down on Panama City Beach.
All right, so Edgewater, we're talking September 17th and the 18th. What got you into becoming a success coach?
Well, I was just, tired of seeing the way things were doing. People were doing it in the corporate world. I'm like, hey, I can do better than that. I can help people better than those guys can. And so started going out on my own, helping some people, and found out I actually could help people better than some of these corporate folks. And I'm like, hey, look at this guy. This guy's growing. This guy's doing good. This guy's changing his mindset. This guy's doing awesome over here. I might have something here. I might have to keep going with this. So, yeah, it's been fun ever since.
So are we making sure Randy is going to be in attendance for this?
Yes, Randy is going to be in attendance.
Okay, good. All right. Dave, you're good, though. You're good, brother.
There we go. What's been one of the, not defining moments, but just one of those moments where it's like a specific moment where you were like, yeah, this, I'm glad that I made this transition?
Wow, that's a good question. So I would have to say it was probably my second client. My second client, I have what I like to call, my last name's Schmaltz. I have what I like to call schmaltzy tasks.
Funny.
And literally these tasks are to help you get out of your comfort zone. So like, brush your teeth with your opposite hand. I have you go into like a grocery store and moo like a cow, get out of your comfort zone, bright shirts or whatever you're going to. So this one client was dragging along for a while, and she had this moment that just like clicked and switched her whole world. We've been working together for about 5 weeks, and one of the schmaltzy tasks I gave her was to go out into a retail store and ask for like a huge discount. Like not on a sale, there's no sale in the store, just go in and ask for like 75% off. What's the worst that can happen? They can say no, right? Mm-hmm. She went in and got it. They gave her 75% off. I don't remember what she bought, but she got.
Do you remember the store so I could try that?
Yeah, right.
Unfortunately, it wasn't locally here.
Okay, wow.
But she gets on that next call, and she was just like glowing and bright. And then the next thing you know, like 4 weeks later, her business is doubled. Her home business had doubled. She just like lost all the fear of people saying no. It was just that one instance. And from that point on, I was like, all right, got onto something here.
Is there any science behind the fear of being told no? Or like what do you make of that as a success coach? What do you think it is that holds us back from that fear?
Oh, it's their programming. We've been told our whole lives, we've been told no. That's one of the first words we learn when we're growing up.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, what's the first word your parents tell you? No, don't touch that. No, don't touch that. You can't do that. Can't do that. And so parents, teachers, bosses, our whole lives are all telling us, no, we can't do that. So we're so used to that. And so we're used to hearing that word. And so when we get in there, we automatically have that in the back of our mind. So unfortunately, it just takes a lot of reprogramming and retraining. Sometimes some people catch it quick, like that woman Angie. Other people, it takes months, if not years. But it's really getting over that programming.
So you're originally from Seattle.
Yes.
What brought you down here to Panama City, and how long have you been here for?
So we got here in 2018, unfortunately, just before Hurricane Michael.
Me too. That was July 19th of 2018.
August 20th, so
yeah. So everybody likes to say it's my fault, but we're going to blame you now.
I came later, right? And actually came down here for a job. So I had a friend of ours that lived down here, and we had visited like 2 or 3 times and loved it down here. And my wife and I were like, well, what if we moved down there? Coincidentally, like 6 months later, an opportunity came about for me to get a job down here, and company paid for everything, moved us down, helped us buy a house, the whole shebang. And then Hurricane Michael came through, and still had the job. But the company I worked for, it turned out didn't turn out to be the greatest company in the world for me. So
right,
I was already into the coaching side, and I'm kind of like, what? Don't like where I work. I really like what I do here. I'm going to put all my effort over here, and made it a full-time gig.
So you upgraded your life.
Exactly.
So the keys behind it. You're not just speaking off of like thoughts. You're actually going off of facts that have happened with you. How big of a role does that play? Just the happiness factor of, especially career. How many people do you think are out here living in a career or going to work daily that they don't necessarily want to do every single day, but don't necessarily have the courage to kind of take that leap of faith?
It's well under the 90-something percentage for sure. I mean, almost majority of people you talk to are complaining about their work or their business or even their home life and their happiness. They're not happy in some way, shape, or form. And so that's what you're going to learn at this event. All the different speakers are going to show you one way, shape, or form. Whether you own a business and you want it and it's stagnant, you're not really sure how to make it grow and get to the next level. Boom, you're going to get it from some of these guys here. Your relationships. A couple of these guys are going to nail that down and show you how to grow that and be happy in your relationships, whether it's your wife, husband, kids, friends, and then career. If you really want to grow your career, we've got some folks in there that are going to talk about leadership. They're going to talk about growing. Man, there's a little bit of something for everybody here. And you're going to come away from this after 2 days and just like rock your world, rock your life. You're going to come out and just explode.
Let's go.
So on this panel, are there I guess experts, for lack of a better word, in terms of dealing with today's generations and how they how you can affect them in the workplace?
I don't know about in the workplace, but we do have a speaker specific to, say, millennials and teenagers.
Right.
So really, really helping them and helping with their mindset versus what a mindset would be for somebody in my 40s like me.
Right. Well, what I'm asking is not necessarily affecting how they are, but affecting how you manage and deal with those different generations.
Cross the bridge.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see what you're saying. There's a lot of that. You'll get a little bit of that there's a couple of speakers in here that address that specifically, age differences within the workplace. So
Good.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so you're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're talking with Tony Schmaltz, who is the host of the Upgrade Your Life Tour. And you guys can go check out www.upgradeyourlifetour.com for the secrets to success, happiness, and freedom. So we're going to be at Edgewater, 2-day workshop here. About how many people will be speaking per day?
So there's 13 total speakers. So you'll have 7 per day, and one will have an 8th. And actually, we might end. Or excuse me, let me rephrase that. 6 and 7, my math. Or 6 and 7, and then we're going to add a 7th one, like we were talking about. We have a potential. I don't want to drop the name here on the radio, but we have a potential here that should be a number 7 on day 1 or 2. So we should have 7 each day.
What would be your number one thing that you want listeners to know to get out there?
Number one thing I would say is that I guarantee you right now, you're listening to this and feeling like there's something missing in your life. And regardless of what that is that's missing, you will find it here, and you will grow with it.
And so do people need to sign up ahead of time? Is it a show up at the door type thing? How does that all play out?
Great question. Thank you for asking. Definitely need to get your tickets ahead of time. Go to that website, upgradeyourlifetour.com. Get your tickets now. They are going fast, and we've got upgrades to VIPs that are close front and center. Those are even going faster, so make sure you go to the website and get your tickets right away.
Yeah, great names here on this list. I mean, this is a great flyer as well. Do you guys, is it just on the website? Do we have a Facebook page?
Facebook page is being built as we speak,
okay,
as an Instagram page is, and several other social media platforms. Right now, it is the website.
So let's go to upgradeyourlifetour.com, guys. Make sure you do that. Now, we were mentioning earlier, Tony, you're from Seattle. With the lack of Russell Wilson, what do you expect from the Seattle Seahawks in 2022?
I expect a lot of rebuilding.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost not only Russell Wilson, but Bobby Wagner's gone too.
Man,
that was a huge, huge hit. I would have actually rather seen Russell go and Bobby stay than both, you know. And so here we are. Most of us true Seahawks fans are like, oh, here we go again, 2011 all over. It's trying to rebuild. So they got a bunch of draft picks like they did in 2011. So back to rebuilding like we did when Russell Wilson started. So that's what we're looking at now.
Do you want to see Seattle get another NBA team?
I don't know. So there was a lot of us true Seattle fans that were really, really butthurt by that one when they left town.
Yeah, they still have websites and podcasts and stuff just based about the Seattle Supersonics.
Right.
And those amazing uniforms.
I used to go to games all the time. When they left town, I was just like, I'm done with the NBA. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got back, but I took a break. And it was hard because the biggest part that hurt us as Seattle fans was the only reason they really left is we wouldn't pay to build them a new stadium. You know, as taxpayers. They're like, oh, we want you taxpayers to pay for it. We're like, oh, we just built a football stadium and a baseball stadium.
Well, how long did you all hold on to the kingdom? Way too long, 70s,
right? 70s, yeah. I got to watch that one go down. That was a cool sight.
Oh, man. Does it rain in Seattle as much as people say it rains in Seattle?
Actually, it rains more here.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So in Seattle, you got a constant gray from like April till October, from October to like April. It's like a constant gray. You got some mist, but we never got like inches of rain like you do here. Here you get like 2 hours of downpour, but it gets sunny again. So there it just stays gray. So everyone says that, oh, it's a lot of rain. I'm like, no, not really. It's a lot more here.
Wow, man. You learn something new every day. We're talking with Tony Schmaltz here. UpgradeYourLifeTour.com, Saturday and Sunday, September 17th and 18th. But they can sign up on this website, right?
Absolutely. You can find all your ticket options at that website. Learn more about each individual speaker, where it's at, discounts on hotels, airfare, all that's right there.
What are the different ticket options?
All right, so you've got a basic ticket, which right now, you want me to run prices?
That's totally up to you. Totally up to you.
I'll tell you what, go to the website and learn more information to get your pricing information. But you've got a basic ticket, you've got a VIP ticket, and you've got an elite ticket, which puts you literally front and center in front of each of the speakers, like right up front 2 rows. And that's, of course, the most pricey ticket.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, man, can't wait for this. Just tell us again, just a little bit of a summary of what we got going on here if people are maybe just now joining with us.
Yeah, for people that are just joining, we've got the Upgrade Your Life Tour that's going to be on September 17th and 18th at the Edgewater Resort in Panama City Beach. And nice thing about that here is for people that are coming out of town, you know, they never have anything where you can walk out the front door and go right to the beach. You know, there's these events all over the country, but none of those where you can walk out the front, go over a sky bridge, and go right to the beach. So that's phenomenal in itself. But we're going to have 13, maybe 14 speakers that are all going to teach you some sort of method, some sort of tool, leave you with some sort of tool to make your life better. Financially, business, career, personal, relationship, you will leave with all kinds of tools and methods to upgrade your life.
I love it, man. That's Tony Schmaltz, y'all. Not only can you upgrade your life, but like you said, you can upgrade your vacation just by coming to the Upgrade Your Life Tour, www.upgradeyourlifetour.com. Hey, Tony, thanks so much for stopping by, my man.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. You're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Adam Goff, Kyle Hall, Caveman Rick, and for Tony Schmaltz. We are out. We'll be back in just a few short moments. Stick with us, y'all.
Weather in Northwest Florida can change on a dime.
Gale force winds bombarded with heavy rain.
That's why 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has the most up-to-date forecast on the Gulf Coast. Hi, this is staff meteorologist Tim Root with over 40 years of experience. I know just how fast we can go from sun and fun to a serious situation. For the most accurate and detailed weather when it matters, rely on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Weather forecast for this afternoon, a 50-50 shot of showers and thunderstorms, partly sunny skies near 90, southwest wind at 10, water temperature in the Gulf 86. Showers and thunderstorms will dot the area overnight near 80, partly cloudy. More showers and thunderstorms over the course of the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
Barbaritos has been committed to serving farm-fresh food since 2000. Barbaritos food is made with love, straight from the heart. Every morning they begin preparing food from scratch, from chopping fresh tomatoes for sauces to mashing fresh avocados for guacamole. Barbaritos cares about food.
For a limited time, between the hours of 6 and 9 p.m., you'll get a free small creamy cheese dip with the purchase of an entree and a drink.
That's Barbaritos on 23rd Street near Hobby Lobby.
Barbaritos. We make it fresh. You make it yours.
Did you know that fees associated with real estate closings are virtually the same from one title company to the next? So what sets South Oak Title apart? Effective communication, customer service, expertise, and technology. If you're buying or selling real estate, refinancing a residential or commercial property, tell your realtor you want to close with South Oak Title. South Oak Title, with locations across the Southeast, including Panama City Beach, Inlet Beach, Destin, and Fort Walton Beach. Visit them online at southoaktitle.com.
From Mariana to Panama City, from Southport to Laguna Beach, this is the Panhandle's home for live and local sports coverage. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, live from the Rib Crib Radio Room. ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This segment is Fan Friday with Kyle Hall, but it's brought to you by Bay Handyman Services. They listen better, plan better, build better. Reach them at 850-753-5014. They have 24/7 emergency services. You can reach them on their website, bayhandymanservices.com. They hold a 5-star rating. They'll do anything from hanging pictures even to a full house remodel. 850-753-5014. And tomorrow night, Tri-State in Clarksville, the Tonka truck will be out there. The Tonka truck now, I mean, the thing was awesome before. They got the wrap on it, and it actually does resemble a Tonka truck now. Mm-hmm. So that is awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a lot of great nostalgia there. Ryan Phillips, an awesome guy. You know who else? Whenever I think Ryan Phillips, I automatically think Boston Tim. Boston Tim would have really liked that last segment. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Grow with me. You
Grow
know what I mean?
I heard that. I was thinking about
immediately who I thought of was
and not
Tim.
to mention about Tim, but if I'm not mistaken, he's planning on being on Tri-State this weekend too.
Yeah,
he was gonna be there.
He should be out there at Tri-State. I'm trying to finagle and move some things around. Got some news that my grandparents might be moving back here, so I don't know if my weekend is changing on the dot, but we'll see how that all plays out.
The boat stays dry dock this weekend,
I
right?
don't know. No promises. No promises. All right, so this is Kyle Hall with us. Kyle, tell us a little bit about yourself, you know, growing up and all that good stuff, what you do now, and then we'll get into the teams that you follow.
All right, so I'm Kyle. I was born in Jacksonville, Florida. When I was 2 years old, we actually moved across the coast to California, lived over there for 3 years. Really, really good years, 2 to 5.
2 to
I
5.
remember 'em so well.
Hey, I'm the same way as you, man. I've moved all around pretty much.
Yeah, but then after that, we went to Northeast Alabama by Birmingham, and we were there for 15 years. And so pretty much, graduated school there and everything. Then I moved
How far
here.
from West Blockton was that? No?
Not familiar.
Okay, all
West
right.
Blockton. Sounds.
We lived there for a little bit.
Sounds like a suburb of Birmingham, honestly.
That's what it was.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So I, spent most of my childhood and grew up there, and then I moved here in 07. So I've been here 15 years, and so become a local, and I love it here. I love living here. It's kind of like a mix of the small town life that I grew up with, and then the beach life on top of it. So.
No doubt. So tell us about what you do and, kind of brag on that a little bit because Matt Glover and the gang, there's awesome people there at Pest
Shout
Control.
out to Mac. I work at Aero Pest Service. We take care of everyone locally. We basically service all the way out to Navarre, all the way out to Cape San Blas, up to almost Alabama. So if you guys have any pest control needs or anything, definitely give us a holler. And I've been doing it a little while now, and I love it, and it's a pretty awesome business to be in. So.
All right, before we get into the sports, craziest situation that you've ever had to deal with, more or less like maybe a rodent or like a raccoon or something like that?
A varmint.
Yeah. Whew, man.
Snake.
There's some. Usually, it's either nothing or it's the worst you've ever seen. But I'd say probably, just one that stands out is going in and just having them literally the big roaches just falling all over me as I'm in this closet. And, having someone standing over me, watching me, trying to hold my composure, do my job, and that all at one time. And it's just, you're getting the shivers and you just want to run out there and
the
throw your clothes on.
heebie-jeebies,
Yeah,
boy.
you just want to run out of there and so having to keep your composure in situations like that, it can be tough.
Dude, I could only imagine. You walk
think
into
you
a
can handle
closet to
it,
get
and then-
dressed, not get dressed by cockroaches.
Yeah, you're like, I got this, I'm good, and then it happens, you're like, I'm not good at all.
Yeah, like, where's my hazmat suit at or something?
Right.
All right, so let's get into your teams that you follow. You're a Florida Gators fan, Orlando Magic, Jacksonville Jaguars, Atlanta Braves, very regionally centralized here. Let's talk about the Florida Gators. What do you expect from the first year here with Billy Napier?
So far, I'm really impressed. I really like what he's done for the culture of it and just getting fans back involved. I mean, Dan Mullen was such a fall for us that I'm surprised, honestly, that a coach could come in and rebound that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, to be, even as a fan, I'd say maybe, 8-4 is like, that's a great season.
It's a tough schedule y'all have this year.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think
especially front loaded.
8-4 is like, that's a successful season. 7-5 might be more realistic, but
I think that's where I'm leaning towards because I was doing some SEC win totals the other day and went through the schedule, and man, it's tough because you get games like Texas A&M, right? Well, right now it's kind of easy to take Texas A&M, right? Because they've got everything kind of in place outside of the quarterback position. We don't know what it's going to be like for them, but all of that NIL, I don't let that great recruiting class. Forget the NIL.
He's an Alabama fan. So
yeah, no, that's
he's
why
still a little chapped.
No, I'm not chapped at all. I just wanted to backtrack and not seem.
He doesn't want to be Nick Saban.
But when you see that game on the schedule, it's like, ooh, I lean Texas A&M on that way. In fact, looking at Texas A&M schedule, I'm more like a 10-2. A lot of people disagree.
That was a trap game when they weren't even great.
Right.
So it's a game we always have to circle. No matter what.
So I mean, but still, what Billy Napier did with Louisiana, you got to be expecting great things because I mean, pretty much since Urban Meyer, there just hasn't been that guy, and between Spurrier and Urban Meyer, there really hasn't been that guy. So we'll have to see. What are you expecting from the quarterback position? Is it going to be AR-15, or do y'all have another outlier that maybe I don't know about at this point in time?
So we brought in a transfer from Ohio State, Jack Miller.
Okay.
He looks really good.
Yeah.
He's definitely a good-looking quarterback, but, this is definitely Anthony Richardson's year. It's all in his hands. I mean, he has everything, all the pieces he needs. He's got a good coach now. He's got a good culture. He's got no excuse. He has everything he needs. Now, if he can stay healthy is really the key. And then on top of that, just being mature, going through his reads, doing what he's supposed to do, getting out of the pocket is really his. That's where he thrives.
Were you surprised that there was such a, it seemed like every single Florida Gator fan that I knew last year was Anthony Richardson. I want Anthony Richardson,
Dan
but they
Mullen's
kept
just
on
so
throwing
hard.
Emory Jones out there.
Yeah, Dan Mullen just did not want to let that die. I don't know if it was pride or if it was just a hope of some kind of thing just sparking.
So it's like I'm right and you're wrong kind of deal, like from the standpoint of Dan Mullen?
I think so. That's what most insiders say is that
he died on that hill.
That was it. That was the hill he was willing to die on, and it took him there. And he died on it.
And that's tough because it's not a hard place to get recruits to and talk about the University of Florida. You know what I mean?
Their facilities have been a little lacking as far as sports goes here lately. But they're upgrading. They are upgrading.
Right.
But yeah, it's going to be tough sledding starting out for that schedule.
Right. Yeah, I don't expect. Some people are unrealistic, and I'm not that. I know what we have ahead of us with our schedule, but it's definitely. As a Gators fan, at least you have hope. At least you've got. At least we're looking towards the future and not going just lost.
Yeah,
what are we gonna do?
I really did feel like that was a home run hire though to get Billy Napier. Because you had there was options out there. Brian Kelly, Billy Napier. I think it worked out well for both schools there in the SEC. I'm curious to see because I would maybe not this first year, maybe not even the second year, but I think by year 3. Florida comes out looking better than what LSU does, just because I don't know.
And
I don't know.
I mean, that's his focus. He got his own. He got a separate increase in salary for that alone. And Dan Mullen, I mean, let's face it, he
wasn't a great recruiter,
and he wasn't ashamed of it. He wasn't even ashamed of it. And
you can't do that in the
SEC at all, right? Especially with everything going on now. You better look at the future, not just today.
Let's go to the Jaguars here for a second while we've got some time. Second year for Trevor Lawrence coming up. First year for Doug Peterson. Speaking of Urban Meyer being a great coach at Florida, terrible coach with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Did you think it was – I mean, because you're a Florida fan, did you have like a feeling like this could be good? Then were you embarrassed? Like not you personally embarrassed, but like, golly, that wasn't the coach that we knew from Florida.
Yeah, I was really hopeful. I was really thinking, hey, maybe he has like a Pete Carroll – thing going on.
Yeah.
He just comes in and rides the wave, and it just wasn't, it was kind of disaster from
hiring that strength coach to starting out with
Tim Tebow
kicking kickers.
Because I know I mean, everyone like, regardless if you loved or hate Tebow in the college world, once he graduated, everybody not only had a sigh of relief, but they had to have the realization of how amazing that guy was. Not off the field, because definitely amazing there, but I'm saying on the field, that guy, unstoppable.
Yeah.
One of the best to do it.
And where do you draw that line when you're making your cuts like that? This guy's getting you tickets. I mean, he had the number 1 jersey sale during the offseason.
I think you can pinpoint the Urban Meyer reign there in Jacksonville. That if Aaron Hernandez were still alive, he would have tried to put him on that team.
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Aaron Hernandez incarcerated.
He would try to get him out. It'd be like,
don't do that.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's where Urban Meyer's head was at, I think.
Team going
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Wow. It wouldn't surprise me with him, though.
Right.
I mean,
I just wasn't ready for that. I was not ready because we've got, or maybe I didn't actually put it in, but I wanted to ask the question of what was one of your favorite cornerbacks to watch back in the day, and I wanted to go with, I believe it was Cortland Finnegan, who has a meme that he posts all the time of Aaron, or it's not even a meme, it's an actual picture, and he was like, I didn't know I was dealing with a real killer at that point in time.
Yeah.
And he the one that got into it with Andre Johnson?
Yeah, Cortland Finnegan. He's a Titan, so it's kind of easy to go with those kind of guys, man. We're out of time for this segment. We're going to be right back with Defend Your Stance. That's Kyle Hall, y'all. Great guy, and we have a great show on tap for you guys. Keep it right here, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
June 26th, 2017, a radio station was born. For 5 years, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida has been the undisputed and still undefeated leader for sports on the Panhandle. Thanks for 5 years of broadcasting history from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi folks, I'm Tracy at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Santa called and he asked me to help everyone get ready for Christmas and avoid the stress and rush. So we've stocked the store and slashed the prices. All colored gemstones have been reduced 50 to 70% off. Emeralds, rubies, sapphires, amethysts, blue topaz, tanzanites, opals, and many more. And we are offering free 6-month layaway. Tracy's Fine Jewelry takes the stress out of the holidays. So shop now where Santa shops during our Christmas and July sale at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida are proud members of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We'd like to welcome the newest members to the Beach Chamber.
Sunset Florida Painting, LLC. Heavens View Aerial Photography. Sugar Art by Angela. Spot On Transact. And Bay Point Neighbors Magazine and Best Version Media.
Congratulations from the area's only sports radio station. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Defend Your Stance, brought to you by Emerald Coast Damsel Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense. Michelle, you guys going to be Tallahassee this weekend?
The capital.
The capital, man. So what do we got going on in Tallahassee? Fairgrounds?
Same as usual, fairgrounds for most of the locations. Same thing, come and see us, gun show, great vendors, sell all kinds of personal protection needs from, pew-pew guns and rifles, and like high-powered type stuff, all the way to the stuff that we do, like pepper sprays, stun guns, striking tools, concealed carry purses, things of that nature.
Hey, great stuff, man. And then July 23rd and the 24th, going to be in Jacksonville. So get a nice little week off in between there and then straight down to Jacksonville.
Always busy.
Great stuff.
We pity the fool.
Who doesn't? We could have said it at the same time.
You're
we
good.
were in unison. Yeah, you should have finished it out. I mean, anytime, because it would have been like, Jinx, show me a Pepsi at that point in time. You know what I mean? Great stuff by Buffalo Rock. Somebody come up with a trivia question so we can give something away. Or third caller in hour number 2, starting at 5 o'clock. Third caller is going to get a $25 gift card to Rib Crib, 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, along with a Pepsi swag bag. Third caller in the second hour, starting at 5 o'clock. Who would win more rings as a duo, LeBron and Steph, or Mike and Magic, MJ and Magic? Now, it's kind of tough because there's no defining factors around this, right? There's no role players. We don't know what our team's
Are we playing in the
like.
80s and 90s, or are we playing in today's game?
That does make a difference.
It does for the shooting aspect.
I don't think so. I think it's from a physicality standpoint.
Yeah, like the hand checking and all that kind of stuff.
Jordan with no hand checking? Give me a break.
Yeah.
It's true.
I went back and watched, I think it was game 2. I've said this will be the third time. I was watching the Magic Rockets on YouTube, the NBA Finals.
94 or 95?
It was 95.
95.
I was waiting on the Live Golf Tournament to start, the final day of it, because I wanted to watch a whole round of it, and I'm super impressed with what they've got going on over there in the Live Golf Tour. It was the same thing for me. It was fun watching Shaq and Hakeem, right? But it was still a whistle every other second. So I was like, I think what's getting lost on people is that the definition wasn't high enough for them to see how silly some of the calls were that they were making back then. To be honest with you, I think the 80s might be more of a physical. And don't get me wrong,
That's a fair
yes,
assessment, though. What you're saying.
the physicality has dropped off in a sense, but I think the refs are still in the same. You know what I mean? Like, swallow the whistle, man. Unless someone is getting like tortured or something, if it's just a little hand on a hand, that should not stop nobody. We don't call that on the playground.
Right. Yeah. And it's always
Hands part of
easy
the
to
ball.
say that, oh, well, it was harder back then, compared to now. Just like younger fans might say, well, LeBron and Steph, guaranteed. But they didn't see what Magic could do. They didn't see that type of stuff. So
And Steph, I mean, because if you think about it, if you just take those two guys on those two guys and then you fill out with just mediocre rest of the type players, which isn't something, that makes a lot of sense. But if you think of it in that term, all right, well, you got Magic is going to be right there with LeBron, right? Because Magic was LeBron before LeBron was LeBron. And then give me all day the defense of Michael Jordan, hand check or not, over Steph Curry. You know what I mean? So, like, with those two guys, I think that it's pretty straightforward that I'll take those guys and Magic and Mike.
And then is Steph going to guard Michael in the low post on his turnaround? Come on. Plus, nobody can stop that. You're going to put little Steph Curry on that?
They'll be switch.
Plus, Jordan and Magic took pride in playing 82 games.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
I don't want to take that away from LeBron because LeBron hasn't been such a diva on on load management.
Right, but he still doesn't mind if he takes games off or he's not playing. We're like,
especially
guys
when they're
like,
out of playoff contention.
Guys like
I'm
Jordan would be like angry as hell.
Took
if
it
they couldn't
personally.
play.
They're gonna take it personally.
Right,
Yeah.
And if you're not going all out, you're playing on Mike's team.
He'll punch you in the face, man. He'll do you
he's not going to go to Jerry Krause and say, let's trade this guy. He's going to
He'll do you like Steve Kerr.
Just don't play him.
He'll dot your eye.
Right.
Yeah, he'll dot your eye.
Yeah. They got that killer instinct, though, man. Jordan, they got that killer instinct.
They do, man.
LeBron's got it, and Steph brings it sometimes, but you're getting it from Jordan and Magic.
Yeah.
Every time.
Oh, man. Think about that clip that we've been privileged enough to see from the Team USA basketball when they had the Magic and Mike were running teams against each other. And it was as competitive as it gets in that gym that day. Let's talk a little men's college basketball here. Is college basketball going to be better if super conferences happen? I'll start with this one and I'll keep it brief. Absolutely. Yes. Why not? You've already, you're starting to see some of these other conferences like the SEC, right? You don't really think of them as a basketball conference. Well, you're starting to see some of their teams play pretty good basketball. So I think you combine all of these guys into 3 different conferences of 20 or 22, somewhere close to that number. Yeah, I think it's better all the way around. But at the end of the day, that's the beauty of college basketball. 68 best teams get in the tournament.
Go ahead, Adam.
No, what I was going to say is you're going to have a lot more competitive basketball and you're going to have better basketball if this were to happen, right? Which I think it's going to, whether you like it or not. But, you're going to have schools not scheduling these, so-called directional schools and these Alcorn States and Grandma East Mississippi Junior College coming in there to play,
which I think could be bad for the whole of sports.
Right. But I'm just saying in terms of as a fan watching these games, the Big Four right now is what Michigan State, Kansas, Kentucky, and North Carolina or Duke are playing in that, the showdown or whatever. You're going to have that every week because they're going to have to increase the number of conference games, right? For everything to be comparable.
Same with college football too.
Right. So you look at it from just sort of college basketball standpoint, and so instead of having 30 regular season games where you've got 7 or 8 warm up games before you get into your conference play, and maybe 1 or 2. Premier matchups, you're going to have probably 6 or 7 premier matchups in there in their conference games.
Right.
Yeah, what you got? What you think, Kyle?
I just love the concept of someone who's grown up in, watching certain conferences and then having that it won't be cross conference anymore, but you'll feel like it is.
Mm-hmm.
The teams that you've never got to see is like, man, that's awesome that we'll see, like you said, Kansas and Duke play twice in a regular season or something like that. I just think that adds more excitement to it. And then, like, maybe the seeding of the tournament, maybe that is a little bit better because of that.
Or do we even still have the tournament at that point?
Oh.
Or do they have something else going on
March
entirely?
Madness is one of the best.
I know, man, but if they're going to go to the Super Conference, do we even have that?
Yeah, you make it kind of difficult, maybe.
Yeah, because I think in college basketball, because basketball is still such a sport that we we finally seen it, with the 16 taking down a 1 seed. But in last year's tournament, how many upsets that we had? Now, granted, at the end of the year or at the end of the tournament, we had 4 blue bloods playing, even though North Carolina was an 8 seed playing in the national championship against Kansas. So I don't know, man. Like I think that you'll still have. I think what they'll get rid of is automatic qualifiers for everybody.
Yeah.
Like if you have, but then how hard does that make it for these smaller conferences?
Mid-majors would have a really hard time.
Yeah, because they got to schedule some of these big dogs, and these big dogs are going to be like, well, that's really kind of a waste of our time, really, to
like
play
when you look at stuff like RPI and stuff like that, that stuff you can throw it out the window then, because that ain't going to matter. That won't even come into play.
Right. Does it change it to like football is, where you got to be undefeated and blowing everyone out to even be considered?
Yeah. I think that it, in a sense, does, but I think, like what you were saying with the cross-conference matchups that you could get, that would become more of a regularity rather than, oh, we've got the Big 12 SEC matchup here. But yeah, we got to get to a break. We'll be right back. Top of the hour. Third caller in this next hour gets $25 to Rib Crib, 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, and a Pepsi swag bag.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your radio home for live and local sports coverage. For the most high school and college sports from right here in our local area, it's the Coach James Hale Show, weekday mornings 7 till 9. Then the ride home is alive and kicking with the Afternoon Underdogs, covering the gamut of sports. Plus, the radio home for the defending world champion Atlanta Braves. Your local sports station is ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather forecast for this afternoon, a 50-50 shot of showers and thunderstorms, partly sunny skies near 90, southwest wind at 10, water temperature in the Gulf 86. Showers and thunderstorms will dot the area overnight near 80, partly cloudy. More showers and thunderstorms over the course of the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Earthworks of Northwest Florida knows it's a perfect time for you to update your home. Whether it's routine touch-ups or a new look, Earthworks has just what you need. Sand, stone, mulch, and gravel, pickup or delivery. Visit earthworks.com and request a quote. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Love the land you live on. Earthworks of Northwest Florida, 2005 Industrial Drive.
Hi, I'm Kevin Shady with KHS & Associates. We represent private insurance providers using multiple nationwide PPO networks for pre-negotiated discounted rates and no copays, no co-insurance, and no deductibles. If you're interested in a quote, give us a call or text 502-386-1128 and provide us your zip code and the ages and gender of those to include. Call or text us at 502-386-1128. That's 502-386-1128.
Atlanta Braves play here. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana. Powered by Pepsi. ESPN Northwest Florida.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. This cat makes me make art. He's always motivating me to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. He's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Keyboard Cat, YouTube star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Start yours today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes. We've got Caveman Rick, AG, Adam Goff, and Kyle Hall in the building on this beautiful Friday afternoon. And I just got to say thanks to you guys for nominating the Coach James Hale Show and the Afternoon Underdogs for the best radio personality in Bay County. You can vote for us. Let's take down the other guys in this competition. Vote for one of us. No, Sam. That's my man. So,
I know.
So, Coach Hale,
kind of conflicting.
David Hayes. Either it's not really conflicting, but if he wins, I'm still glad. You know what I mean?
No,
so
no
if it's
doubt.
one of the three of us,
That's good.
then we're good. But I definitely wanted to bring it home for ESPN Northwest Florida. And you can vote now. All you got to do is head on over to ESPNPC.com. Voting runs from now until July 18th. Vote for us in the Best of Bay
Once per
with
day.
Panama City News Herald.
Once per
a day.
day.
Once per day. Or just make up a bunch of different email addresses. I'm cool with that. It is what it is. Yes, sir. Vote for us here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This segment is brought to you by Bay Handyman Services. You can reach them at 850-753-5014. That's 850-753-5014. They listen better, plan better, build better. They're going to be out at Tri-State Park tomorrow in Clarksville. And Ryan sent me some stuff over, so I'll go over that real quick before we get into rapid fire. It's going to be a big party. They're going to have food, drinks, fireworks, and racing. Some out-of-state teams as well. Tonka Truck Racing is going to be there, and that is the reason for the season. Gates open at 5. It's $15 per person. 10 and under get in for free. Oh, also, you think you got what it takes? Any truck can race for $35. That's $35, but you better have some good gas because Ryan Phillips has got that. I think it's like 118 octane gas. It's like $20 a gallon, man. Probably more expensive than that. Boston Tim was telling me about it. But let's get into some rapid fire. Thank you guys for riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Is the Yankees the best team in the last 20 years? AG, this is one that you kind of brought up, so I'm going to let you start with it.
I can't see another team in the last 20 years that has been as dominant on the field at all phases. Offensively, defensively, pitching, bullpen. They are absolutely incredible. I think I saw a stat where if they went 500 the rest of the year, they would still finish at 40 over. I mean, they're still winning 100 games. That's what it was. Even if they just go 500 the rest of the year, they still win 100 games. That's incredible, man, what they're doing. And they're doing it in a division of baseball that is, I think, the best division in baseball.
I don't even think saying you think is the only. So here's my thing on that. First, my answer first is yes, I do believe that they're one of the best team in the last 20 years at this moment in time. Here's the thing. You got to finish the deal. You got to seal the deal. You got to win the World Series because if you don't do that, then it's all for naught. It's Seattle Mariners territory. You win 116 games, come away with nothing. What does it do for you? Outside of maybe, gets guys into your stadium that the whole...
You're the answer to a trivia question.
You're the answer to a trivia question. Or it'll have guys file into your stadium wearing 2001 Mariners? Is that the team that won 116 games? But Randy Johnson and them...
K-Rod, I think.
And they
Tino and Jay Buhner.
Yeah,
and
I've seen fans dress like they had 1 through 9, and they were dressed from the hat to the cleats, man, just like those players. And they did a pretty good job of it. But yeah, so I do at this point in time, yeah, they're the best team, but it doesn't mean nothing without the World Series. In fact, the Braves showed you last year you can win 88 games and pull off the same thing because what do you play for? You don't play for a playoff spot. You play to win the whole.
You just got to get in.
What do you think, Kyle? Best team in last?
I agree with you, and like you said, you got to watch out for those teams that get hot late, and that's what changes it. But yeah, I mean, the way Judge is out there slugging, I mean,
it's not even him; it's Stanton as well.
Stanton is healthy now too.
He looks rejuvenated, man.
Right, with him coming back, and it was kind of you kind of wondered at first, like, is he going to have what he had in Miami? And man, he's still got it. He's still got it, even after losing all his teeth. He's still got it.
Well, I mean, we're only halfway through the season. Like Dave said, they got to finish the deal. The playoffs, are still ways away. They still have to prove that they can stay healthy. I'm not even sure right now. I don't even know who's in the home run derby. Are Stanton or Judge scheduled to be involved? Because usually that's a bad sign if you're in that event, and then the rest of your season's usually shot as far as your swing.
Outside of Juan Soto, I think that it did really good for Juan Soto last year because he actually found that home run stroke again for him.
Right, but that's a little of an outlier compared to most of the people that are
majority,
involved. So,
right.
That's something to think about too. So like I said, health, and let's see if they can just hold it together because it's still a long ways to go. I mean, the season's only half over, and this is not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Hey, such a great point. Miguel Cabrera or Albert Pujols, best player of their generation.
Well, I posed this question to you this morning.
Right.
And like we talked about previously, they're two of the best players of my generation.
The epitome of consistency, in a sense.
100%. And, everybody's like, oh, they're power hitters. No, they're doubles hitters with power. There's a difference. They're two guys that we're never going to see again of their like. Guys that hit for average, hit for power, drive in runs. I mean, I give the nod to Miggy on this one as far as being the better of the two, just because of him winning the Triple Crown. Like, I don't think there's anybody in today's game the way it's played with high strikeouts, low average, high power. Everybody's about launch angle and velocity off
Watch
the
out
bat.
for that Michael Harris kid, though.
Right.
He might have that.
But
Brandon Drury is another guy that could possibly.
Yeah, he's hit
he doesn't.
276.
He doesn't hit for average.
That's what
like
I'm saying.
that.
So you're going to have somebody winning a Triple Crown in today's game. That's going to be somebody that's an absolute phenom, and I just don't see it happening the way that Miggy did it when he won the Triple Crown. I mean, he's absolutely a specimen.
Kyle, what you got on this one?
Yeah, I mean, Miggy, he was on worse teams too, right? I mean, so
with Detroit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it just depends
the
on
Florida
the year.
Marlins.
Yeah.
Florida Marlins were some pretty darn good teams. Everybody
Right.
forgets that he was on those teams.
Yeah.
Didn't he get a series? Did he get a series with the Tigers as well?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's got. I mean, he's got two of them things.
So
I believe like Verlander, right? Wasn't Verlander there then?
Verlander, Scherzer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was that year's.
Yeah, I mean he's been consistent for sure, but so is Pujols.
Yeah.
Both, I mean the consistency is there.
Which way you lean, Caveman?
I'm going with Miguel Cabrera. I mean, they're both obviously like almost the same kind of guy, but staying healthy, I think Miguel Cabrera stayed healthier throughout his career compared to Albert Pujols. So I think I'd have to give the nod that way, just because who's available more.
When you asked this question, I honestly thought that everybody was going to be going Albert Pujols. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going Miguel Cabrera because, and I wanted to use the argument, though, the same argument that we were just talking, that you brought up. Hey, well, he was kind of on the worst teams, right? With the Detroit Tigers year in and year out there, for the most part, not the greatest ball team out there. But then he is a two-time World Series champion. I think that the biggest deal here, why the correct answer is Miguel Cabrera, at least we're all on the same consensus here, is because of his time, Pujols' time with the Angels. I think that really kind of, we talk about consistency. Miguel was consistent through that time and is huge for the younger players that come up in that Tigers organization, right? I think that I read an article, I believe it was by either Stephen Nesbitt or Matt Monahan, or Monaghan, just about how influential he is with these younger guys and the time that he takes out of his day to help them not just hit better, but to be a better ball player, to be a better person as well, because Miguel Cabrera has had some hurdles to come over himself to kind of regain that limelight. So I'm with you guys on this. I think it's Miguel Cabrera. I would be interested if we had anybody to defend their stance, if you will, on Albert Pujols. Let's go to favorite sports video game of all time. Caveman Rick, I know you're ready for this
Wow,
one.
that's tough, man. You're going all time for me. Well,
He's going Tony Hawk.
No, I'm not actually, man. I'm torn between two games actually from my childhood. One would be Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, and the other one would be NHL '94 on the Sega Genesis. And
Okay.
I don't know which two to pick. If I had to lean towards one, the people out there that know the game would probably get this reference, but I think Ron Barr would say it's NHL '94, so I'm going to go NHL '94.
Okay, I was 3 years old, so no recollection. Where you at, AJ, on this one?
One that doesn't get a whole lot of love that I really enjoyed.
Deer Hunter '93.
No, I played it on Sega Genesis as well. Was Deion Sanders Primetime Football?
Wow.
I remember that.
I never played that, but
I always just
you don't
remember
hear about it.
being a Bengals fan. It was the same time that Jeff Blake was the quarterback of the Bengals, and he was throwing these long bombs to Darnay Scott and Carl Pickens, and he would throw the ball up pretty much like out of the stadium, and then it would drop into their arms. And you could do that on Deion Sanders Primetime Football. So I always played with the Bengals, obviously, and Jeff Blake. So that's what I remember.
Yeah, I like that. Kyle, what you got?
I'm thinking I'm leaning towards NBA or NFL Blitz.
Oh,
like that. And
you could go either way, right?
Yeah, Nintendo 64.
Yeah, I
Blitz, Slugfest, it don't matter. Those games were awesome.
That's the one where they had the bones snapping. And you could see the X-ray.
I'm an Eagles fan. They were good, but I liked using the Raiders in that year too.
Oh, man.
That was the game right there, man. It was just hard hitting, bones breaking. The X-rays did it though.
I feel like those games would be so popular today.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? The blitz, the fast
XFL
action,
should put that out there where it's
NBA
like that.
Jam type stuff.
Yeah, NBA Jam type
NBA
stuff.
Jam was
Anything
fun.
fast paced and stuff. I'm more of a simulation type guy rather than the arcade over the top stuff. But I
He's
think
on
there's
fire.
I think there's a lot of arcade. They like that style of game a little bit more rather than the ones that you got to kind of play it realistic. But however, since the world of online gaming has exploded so much, a lot of the times you get on and you play like a newer Madden online against somebody, they're not necessarily playing the game of football. They're exploiting all of the glitches in the game and stuff like that. So it kind of, cheat codes, it kind of takes away from the game. NCAA and Madden is easy enough to say. I mean, I loved creating a player in NCAA and then taking him through his college career and then taking it over to Madden and having a professional career, living my dreams vicariously through a video game.
Right.
So absolutely there. Tony Hawk is another one that actually does it.
yeah.
I mean, come on, it's a classic game. Tony Hawk
Great
made
soundtracks
so much
on
money.
a lot of those
Soundtracks were
Tony
amazing.
Hawk 2 and 3 were
Triple Play 97, I believe. No.
MVP baseball was a great one as well.
MVP, maybe was it MVP or Triple Play? They had like a lot of the soundtrack was really, really good. I can't remember which one it was. It was either Triple Play 97 or it was MVP like 02
Triple
or something.
Play 97. Did that have Frank Thomas on it? Because that was a cartridge game.
Football game too, by the way. I want to mention NFL 2K before everybody forgets.
2K5.
Well, you know what? NBA 2K on the Dreamcast. The Sega Dreamcast was awesome too.
You know what's crazy is growing up, I was more of an NBA Live kind of guy than I was an NBA 2K, and then pretty much the live series just went all the way down the drain. EA Sports just wasn't. It's like they only cared about the big names that they had and not necessarily the basketball franchise that they had going. They've tried to revitalize it. Hasn't worked out too well. NBA 2K has got such a stranglehold on the game, the same way that Madden has a stranglehold on the NFL world, which I would rather see some competition, because that was what was so great about NFL 2K5.
Right.
Not only did you have the first-person view, the game was $20 compared to $50 for
you had all the
Madden.
extras where like you could have your place set up where you get like your unlocks where you can get like TVs and trophies and all that kind of stuff like around your pad, and you can do all that kind of stuff.
Dalton
too.
Cope says NFL NBA Street.
Oh, come on, the Street series.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I've heard rumors that's coming back.
I've seen things on Twitter.
They might be bringing it back.
But
Can we get Peyton Manning like slinging footballs at little kids in that game? That would be awesome.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey,
Got the kid warming up for Cam, in front of Cam Newton.
Yeah. Even FIFA Street was like the soccer game of Street. That was a lot of fun as well. N64 Quarterback Club. I think it was Brett Favre's game, the Quarterback Club.
Yeah.
That was a great one. I used to play that with my buddy Heath Dittman a lot. Who gets Sunday Ticket? We're off the video games now. Who ends up getting NFL Sunday Ticket? Looks like this is going to be the last year with DirecTV. They're moving to a streaming service of some sort. So go ahead.
Well, just Taryn Goodell mentioning the fact that, he wants it to go to like a streaming service because that's the way things are kind of going nowadays. So obviously it's going to be the highest bidder, a Hulu or, somebody like
Amazon.
that's going to try to snatch it up. Amazon, Google, whatever. But somebody's going to go all in because they know it's a product that it's going to sell and make them a lot of money. So it's just going to be who's got the most money freed up that can offer the best deal, I guess.
What you thinking?
I think it's going to be Amazon.
Amazon?
Bezos.
I think it's going to be either Apple or Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon. I think so too.
Dude,
they're already dabbling in it.
I was talking with we had Leanne on the other day, and I was mentioning, everybody was like, I'm cutting the cable, I'm cutting the cord, I'm getting rid of it, I'm going to stream, and now it's like it's way more expensive to stream because you got to go get 60 different things. I mean, you've got your YouTube TV, right? But that's not going to get you everything. You got your certain elements that you can. I mean, there's certain ways around certain things. Yes, I'll give you that. But on the up and up side of things, on the up and up side of things, it just costs more, man, because you got to go get your Apple TV, you got to have your Amazon.
$5 here, $8 there, right?
Yeah.
You kind of have to just figure out what's important to you, okay? Like, we're sports guys, okay? So we want all the networks for all the streaming services that have the good sports. But if it's got stuff on there like about, if you're not into, basket weaving or like, some other kind of stuff like
underwater basket weaving.
Like,
I'm a bigger fan of that.
Like those home improvement type networks, DIY networks.
Is that on the
and you don't
Ocho?
like that kind
That
of
was
stuff.
the COVID channel.
don't get those, or try to like stay towards the ones that have more of the sports, and sometimes you got to sacrifice a little bit.
Yeah, but there's just like to get it all in one place is almost impossible. You know what I mean? So you have to make a lot of sacrifices.
Except for the original cable companies that you'd pay out the ear for.
Yeah, but it's getting comparable, and I don't know, man. They
hype it up.
They
it's
do.
like you got to watch Stranger Things, but you can't watch it without Netflix. And so that's how they keep it competitive.
Netflix, give us some plug money, man. We got Michigan State Bruce says original Pong on Atari, and then we also got a shout out to Kyle from his boys. Your boys didn't leave a name here, so I don't know if you recognize the number right there on that second one.
On Facebook, there's a Brent Clendenden.
Shout out Brent.
Hey, there we go. So we got Kyle Hall in the building with us. We also got to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk a little fantasy football with the crew here on the Afternoon Underdogs. Keep it locked in.
ESPN Northwest Florida. Here's what's happening.
What's up, y'all? It's David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm stoked to be nominated as the best afternoon radio personality in the News Herald's Best of Bay. Show your support for live local radio and cast your vote now by going to ESPNPC.com. And remember, for a brighter tomorrow, vote David Hayes in 2022.
Weather forecast for this afternoon, a 50-50 shot of showers and thunderstorms, partly sunny skies near 90, southwest wind at 10, water temperature in the Gulf 86. Showers and thunderstorms will dot the area overnight near 80, partly cloudy. More showers and thunderstorms over the course of the weekend. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
You may have heard about the new federal budget proposal. Let's say this dollar represents the whole budget, 100 pennies. This penny here saves millions of lives. It prevents people from starving when famine hits, and it keeps kids like me in school instead of being forced to marry. It's the U.S. Foreign Assistance budget. All those poor people. I think they're worth the penny. Foreign assistance is worth the penny.
It started with the original care package, and millions more like it. Passed from hand to hand, across land and sea, to help survivors in the aftermath of war. As we grew, we found better ways to help those in need. Ways to make a real difference, not just today, but tomorrow as well. Be the difference in people's lives. Help deliver lasting change at care.org.
Having a place to go after school will make you a better student. Having an outlet to express yourself will make you a better artist. Having something to do together will make you a better family. At the Y, we're helping build better friends, listeners, writers, swimmers, scientists, and musicians, one chance at a time. Give the gift of opportunity. Support the Y at ymca.net. The Y, for a better us.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. Starting Monday, July 11th. Listen weekday mornings to Coach Hale at 8:15 and the Afternoon Underdogs at 4:45 to win a prize pack and get qualified for the 5-year flyaway. From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
What's going on, man? Braves tonight taking on the Nationals. We've got coverage starting at 6 o'clock, 6:20 for the first pitch. We've got Charlie Morton on the bump tonight. Need to get 3 in this 3-game set with the Nationals. Then we take on the Mets, man. That's going to be a big-time series, but this is a big-time series headed into that next series against the Mets. A little head-to-head action there between the top 2 guys in the NL East.
Do y'all miss Scherzer in that series? Do y'all miss him?
I'd have to go and actually look at what's lined up. Hopefully we get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Reds beat him. Come on.
We didn't beat him.
I know.
We got a nothing.
Only 1 run in that game, and it came on the final play
on
of
a
the
sack
game.
fly.
So, Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I mean, I hope that they bring DeGrom back, and then we get to take on Scherzer and DeGrom, and then those Mets fans on Twitter and Facebook will be going
explode.
wild.
Yeah.
But this is some fantasy football, or this segment is going to be about fantasy football. To lead off, is fantasy football more skill or luck or a little bit of both? Kyle, what you think? Do you play fantasy football?
I do. I think it's both. I think it doesn't matter how many stats you follow. It doesn't matter what, things that they've done throughout their career or that week or that season. I mean, somebody goes off, and that's what I also think is great about it, is that when you get those, it's like betting. You find that person that you just throw in there, and then they just, boom, 200 yards.
Amon Ross St. Brown. Appreciate you, big dog.
Yeah, or you invest in someone for the season, like a James Conner, and then all of a sudden he went from, nothing to killing you. So, killing it.
That's such a great point, too, with James Conner, because a lot of people had Chase Edmonds pegged as being the lead guy there, and then James Conner got pretty much all of the majority of the touchdowns there.
Right.
So, I think the only skill that you got to have in fantasy football, I mean, like you said, you can look at all the stats. They tell a story, but not the whole story. You have to be week in, week out, just paying attention. If you just keep your lineup, don't have buys in the lineup and stuff like that, that's the skill that you got to have. Outside of that, it plays a lot of luck, because at the end of the day in the draft, you can only do what you can do, because you're drafting against 10, 11 other guys, you know what I mean? So that plays a big part in it, and so does luck in anything. In the world of actual sports, when they're playing on the field, luck still plays a role.
I go with skill, I think, honestly. From what I've seen in my experiences, the people that care more, the people that try more, that try to do the research and their homework, usually the ones that are more successful, and the people that are just kind of like, shoot from the hip and just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. Yeah, you might have a good week or here or there, and I mean, you might get lucky and win your league, but if you do, it's because you got lucky. It's not because, you, I think, put a lot of effort into it. So that's the way I look at it, and the more you're prepared, I think the better you draft. And if you pay attention to injury reports,
waiver wire,
things like that, and jump on stuff at the right time, that's who wins usually.
I think skill is the majority of it, but there is some luck there, because if you have the number one pick and you take somebody and they go down,
Patrick Mahomes,
now you're depending upon your league, 20 picks away from getting your next person. So there is a lot of luck to it, but I think a lot of it has to do with skill. And something that I've learned over the years is don't always go with your gut instinct in that draft. Like, you may think that one dude is going to be the guy, but more than likely it's not, just because of what I've seen.
And don't forget scheme, right?
Yeah.
So if you got a run heavy team, and defense is, you got to play into all of that.
Well, we have Matt Ryan's number one fan on the line here.
Greg Calvert, what's going on?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Man, we are doing fantastic, bro. How are you?
Oh, I'm coming back down from Georgia, and I driving through Mariana, and I heard you guys talking fantasy football. I said, I got a call. I haven't called in a while.
Did you visit Old School?
I did not. No, I've been working up there.
We're going to hang up right now. We got to go.
Now, what you got paid for the fantasy football year, Greg?
I mean, I want to be in your guys' league that rely on luck. I want to be in your league. It's not luck, guys. Come on, wake up. It's skill. The draft is the most important. You can talk about waiver wire all you want. You got to come out of that draft with a solid team, or you're kaput the rest of the year.
Okay, so right there is where you're wrong, because you can't tell me that your draft was just 100% skill, because you had to have somebody in front of you mess up so that you could luck into one of your picks.
You don't luck into it. You have your options. If somebody takes
you just don't believe in Andrew, or you just don't believe in luck because of what Andrew Luck did to you guys.
Well, I mean, that has nothing to do with it. But I'm just telling you, I want to be in your league if you're only relying on luck, and if you're relying on the waiver wire to build your team, you're SOL.
Hey, well, let me ask you a question real quick, Greg. Which league were you in last year in the ESPN League? Was it the Champions League, North or the South? Do you remember?
No, you didn't put me in the Champions League. You put me in some other league.
So you were in the North or the South?
Even though I wanted previous 2 years.
We added the Champions League, though.
It kind of depressed me, so I didn't even try.
Champions League got added.
Great skill you got there.
North and South got full, right? That was the third.
Yeah, that's the Champions League got added to. Now it's a new tradition where the top 4 from each league, Champions League, North, and the South, they get bumped up. We've got real relegation here, unlike college football, where you'll make it to the Champions League, and I'll tell you who won the Champions League last year. The luck guy, me.
Oh.
No, but Greg, what I was getting at is that there's a part that luck plays in it. I just, like, at the same time, you can't control. You have no skill over where you're at in the waiver line.
You have no control if your guy get hurt. If you got, or the COVID stuff too. You could have a great roster, and then one week you're playing against somebody, you don't have the right guys available, and you lose that week. And that could be the week that costs you, your season.
Let me ask you, Greg, this. How long are we waiting to draft a quarterback this year?
I haven't really dove into it. I've been so busy. I haven't been able to dive into it and really do my studying and all that yet. I'm not sure. I might surprise some people with a quarterback pick this year.
I would probably go 6th or 7th round.
It just depends on what quarterback's available. I mean, so many people.
Right, so it depends on the luck of the draw.
Yeah, so many people jump on Mahomes in the first round. Let them have him. I mean, you may not be able to get a Mahomes later in the rounds, but you're going to be able to get somebody that produces a lot of points. If you go after a skilled position like running back or wide receiver.
I think Josh Allen gets more points than Mahomes this coming year. I think Josh Allen's going to be your points, their best points getter as far as quarterback goes. It'll be Josh Allen this coming season, I believe.
I don't know, man. That Burrow kid, I think he's going to put up some points this year.
Hooday, baby.
He's definitely going to put up points, but I think that you get an added factor when you get a mobile quarterback in there.
And Allen can rush for touchdowns when they get goal line.
If Tua doesn't put up some points, he'll be looking for a job the next year.
You're not wrong. You're 100% right there. If Tua doesn't get a job, if he doesn't get the job done this year,
he's going to be in Indianapolis next year.
He'll be replacing Matt Ryan.
I don't know. I don't know.
P-Ribs to Wentz to Ryan to Tua.
No, don't forget Jacoby Brissett in there as well.
That's true. He played a little bit.
They were just going down the rundown of the Colts quarterbacks, Greg.
Yeah.
Last 4 seasons.
I know.
That quarterback room was impressive.
Hey, Greg.
You guys are funny men.
Hey, we're coming up against the break here, but we're going to finish up this segment. Greg, thanks so much for the call, my man.
All right, man. Take it easy, guys.
See you, G-Man.
You know what? I want to keep talking about fantasy football in the next segment. So we're going to go ahead and go to that break, and then we'll keep it rolling with fantasy football. Had a lot of questions here for this one. Big shout out to Dalton Cope, Terry Ross for helping me out with the questions today.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Washington Commanders are a decent team, but they won't be really involved in the conversation. This is either the Eagles or the Cowboys division. That's how I look at it. I mean, the Eagles are a very talented team. We talked about, obviously, getting A.J. Brown. Like, they have all the pieces right there. Their defense is solid, and Jalen Hurts, a lot will depend upon his maturity and how much he continues to evolve. But when it's all said and done, to me, it's between the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings starting at 5 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
For love of food, love of country, American Charlie Grill and Tavern is a new all-American eatery at the shops at Edgewater. From the local team that brought you Firefly, On the Fly, and more. Classic dishes that have become staples of our country for over a century. American Charlie Grill and Tavern is open Monday through Saturday at 11 a.m. Daily happy hour from 2 till 6. $2 off all liquor, beer, and wine. Lots of TVs make it a great spot to watch all sports. Hope to see you soon at American Charlie Grill and Tavern.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. There's a crime going down in your garage, and your car's lifebloods are all over the floor. Don't call the SVU for your SUV just yet, because when I come back, I'll conduct a crime scene investigation.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center in Hometown Towing.
Garages hold the evidence of automotive foul play, so it's time for a GSI, or grime scene investigation, to check out vehicles' fluids that have leaked onto the floor. Here's how to identify some prime suspects. Clear and odorless with a soapy feel could mean brake fluid, while a sweet-smelling fluorescent green or orange screams coolant. Slick with a smell of sulfur could point to gear lube, and a black puddle below the engine cries leaking oil. So who's the prime suspect for your vehicle's abuse? That would be you. To prevent a DOA SUV or car or truck, perform recommended maintenance and monitor your vehicle's life fluids. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Live from the Rib Crib studio. Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local. 850-215-6290.
Always be sure to listen for the dial tone.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Aye. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Need 2 more callers for your chance to win a $25 gift card to Rib Crib, 12-pack of Buffalo Rock, and a Pepsi swag bag.
Hey, and this time next week, you won't have to go to Callaway for Rib Crib either.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
July 15th. So what are we?
It's a week away.
Yeah, next Friday.
Yeah.
Grand opening, man. That is going to be so awesome.
15th Street, Panama City.
It's a good location right there.
I'm loving it, man. Back to fantasy football here. We just asked a question to Greg about how long we're waiting to draft a quarterback. What do we see more value in this year? Tight end or wide receiver?
Oh, wide receiver, 100%. It also depends on the league you're in.
That's a good point.
You know, so if you have a 3 wide receiver league,
like
plus
the luck
a flex,
of the draw of the league that you're in.
Right. So if you have, right. But if you have a league that has 3 wide receivers and a flex, like, I mean, obviously it's wide receiver. Now, if you have a league where it's 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and 1 tight end, and you can use your tight end as a flex, tight end can be crucial, especially if you get somebody like a Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
You know, that can kind of stretch the field.
And, I mean, the Falcons have gotten so many wide receivers, even though they've lost Russell Gage to the Buccaneers. They've gotten so many wide receivers that could maybe affect the amount. Plus, who's really throwing? Is it Marcus Mariota? You know what I mean?
It depends, too, like if you're in a PPR league or if you're in a non-PPR league. Because, tight ends, depending on who you're picking, could get you a lot of extra points with the receptions.
All right, we just got caller number 2. Let's get caller number 3, and you will be the big winner of the day. My answer is different. I think that there's more value in tight end if you get one of the top-tier tight ends because there's not many, right? I mean, you got the chance for Darren Waller, but injury-prone, right? T.J. Hawkinson up there with Jared Goff in Detroit. Kelsey Kittle, Mark Andrews, and then there's pretty much a big Kyle Pitts.
Dallas Goedert's not too bad for Philly.
Not too bad. Maybe
Gronk
you'll get
when he comes back again.
But we probably won't see him till like week 8 or so. But
Austin's guy Parham over in San Diego.
L.A. Yeah. So there's kind of a big drop off after that. So if you get one of those guys, if I see 14 points on average from my tight end, there's a lot of value there because with wide receiver, who would have thought, like I said earlier, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hunter Renfrow, there was some of these wide receivers that was like, you're not looking in the draft like, oh, this guy is going to be my stud this year. So that's why, it depends on which way you spin it. Like there's a lot of value in wide receiver, but you could get value out of guys that you didn't have any worth on. You know what I mean? Whereas in the tight end position, there's not too much after you get past those like first 8 guys.
Right. And with wide receivers, there's a lot less teams that are built around them, their playbooks.
Yeah.
So, you got your tight ends like you named. Those big guys, we're running through them. We're going to run through them, and there's a little more consistency with that. But with a wide receiver, you got a 150-yard week and then 2 20-yard weeks. So it's hard. It hurts when you get those guys because if they get 300-yard weeks, you're rolling with them, right? But then that luck plays in again because you're like, all right, am I using my skill or my luck? What am I
Or
rolling
that's
with?
also matchups too. Knowing hey, this wide receiver's got a tough matchup going against a great safety or cornerback that's going to shadow him like the whole entire game and shut him down. So I don't maybe want to start him. I want to start somebody else that maybe he's got a more favorable matchup.
Good point.
Any good comments over there?
Yeah, like I said, I think wide receiver is crucial, depending upon what league you're in. Like I played in a league last year that had 3 wide receiver spots.
Oh, wow.
So
And a flex?
And a flex.
Oh, wow.
So it was,
So that changes the whole dynamic, though, because at that point, you need to have at least 2 top dog wide receivers.
Oh, absolutely.
And it also thins out that position because how many teams, you know what I mean, that
how
you
many
have.
players do you have and how many
Well, it changes your strategy. Like my draft strategy went to, okay, I'm going to draft running backs because majority of the wide receivers were going early and I drafted late.
Mm-hmm.
And majority of the wide receivers are going early. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take the running backs and then later on down the road, I'm just going to be like, okay, I got one. Yeah, you need a running back because yours just went down. He wasn't that good to begin with. Here's what I want. And it worked out.
It's like best player available, just like a real draft. Take that person, and now you have an asset. You have a gambling chip, and use it.
And that's what's kind of cool about when people say that best player available. It's really best player available for your team, depending on how you structured your draft to that point. Have any of you guys played auction drafts yet?
No, I got a buddy that does it, though.
I've done it a few times, not recently, probably like 9 or 10 years ago. I dabbled in it a little bit, and it could be fun. It's just a different, style, different setup, and you just have to attack it differently. Because if you go into it looking like a regular snake draft or something like that, you're just going to come out with a really bad team.
And there's luck involved in that one as well. I would say that it's probably a little bit more skill involved with an auction league,
especially with your salary cap.
You can use some strategy though, like you could try to bid up certain players that you might not grab to have somebody else use up some of their funds so that you have the opportunity to get better players later on too.
That's good. Let me ask
like
you
a
a question.
auction.
Yeah.
Are we pro keeper or are we anti keeper or are we pro keeper with strings attached?
I've only been in one league and I'm not in that league anymore with Aaron Rich and the gang. They had one keeper. You got one keeper on your squad a year. So if you had Patrick Mahomes, like obviously that's your guy that you're holding on to, or Derrick Henry or something like that. And it really depends because me and Caveman have been talking about doing a dynasty league. I think it would be a lot of fun to do a dynasty league where
I tried that last year. For the first time. It's interesting.
It's totally different because I like drafting. That's like we look forward to that all year long.
And that's kind of my point. Like I got a buddy that has plays in a league where they have 3 keepers no matter where you drafted them. Right, whether it was a first-round keeper, which that means that person is your first-round pick, right, for the following year.
Right.
But, part of the fun for me every year is going in and going, okay, well, I can get this guy this year. I can get this guy because I missed out on him last year.
Right.
But, if you go into a draft with 12 people, 11 other people, and the top 10 wide receivers are gone. The top 10 running backs are gone.
Especially if you're the new guy to the league.
Right, it changes.
So you got to do your homework, and you have to know about the rookies coming in the league.
I think bigger than that.
I understand that.
I think that's a factor, but I think the biggest factor is having a good group of core guys that are in it for the long haul. If you got good owners, then you're in a better
I did play in one league
place.
that I really liked their keeper rule. It was if they were drafted in the 6th round or later, or were just an outright free agent, then you could keep them as your last pick.
A lot of work for the commissioner.
But no, not really. I mean, but it's, if you think about it, it's like, okay, so if anybody that you drafted after the 6th round, you could keep them. Or if they were just an outright free agent.
Yeah, but it keeps all the top dogs available for everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I
So
like that.
if you get that one gemstone, right, that diamond in the rough that you like a rookie or somebody like that, and then you had them for your next year, you were ahead of the curve.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
And does anyone else do it where you have multiple leagues, where you can play it safe and smart in one, and then
I play bare minimum 6 a year.
Yeah, that's my brother. My brother's got about 8 leagues, I think.
Man, three is my limit, dude. 3, because then you're competing against yourself so many times.
And when I got money involved too, like I really want to focus on trying to win that cash. So like
Oh yeah, but
if you got too many teams, you might get distracted by another team that's doesn't matter as much.
Well, that's kind of the point I think of what he was getting at, because sometimes if a guy's not on your team, you don't know how he's doing. But if you're in multiple leagues, you're going to have multiple guys. You're not going to continue to draft. Yeah, so you're going to be able to see this guy, and then all of a sudden you look at the waiver wire. Oh, no one's really on this guy yet. I'm going to go ahead and grab him. And I'm excited for this year because me and Derek Tate are going to be doing a weekly segment, and we're going to get into different leagues on different apps. So, like, if you've never played on the Sleeper app, and then we're going to go try to find some ones that are kind of off the radar and then give our reviews on those leagues and how we feel about the apps, how we feel about the website, how we just – because it's different strokes for different folks. You know what I mean? And so I want to try out some new leagues because I'm an ESPN guy. You know what I mean? Like, I like NFL fantasy. That's cool. Yahoo's all right. Sleeper's okay. But I've always been more comfortable, I guess, with ESPN.
I played in Sleeper last year for the first time. I like their draft process.
It's almost like the live golf of fantasy.
I like the draft.
The
notifications. But I like the draft process, and that you can go back and look at the board. You know, not just you know. That day, but
it almost looks like you've got a sticker board. But for that,
it's awesome that you can go back and look and see. Okay, well, you know, what did this person do? What did that person do? So it's going to be nice going into next year. You can look back and see maybe how people drafted ahead of you or behind you, so you can kind of get an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy that take. So we talked about tight end and wide receiver, but which do you want to load up on? Because we talked about that flex spot. You want to load up on running back or wide receiver for 2022?
2022, I think
Well, tell me about 2023. What do you? No, I'm just kidding.
Wide receiver. I mean, if you're in a PPR league, for sure, unless you just got some stud running back that you can get that's, you know, is going to get a bunch of receptions and get, you know, a ton of yards on the ground, you got to go wide receiver because, I mean, in a PPR league, the receptions matter so much. Especially like a good slot receiver, a Cole Beasley, for instance, somebody like that you know is going to get you.
Well, Cole Beasley, though, who's he playing with this year?
I would say Hunter Renfrow would be that guy.
I don't know. I had Beasley, and he did fine for me.
But I don't think he's with the Bills anymore.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying that's just a guy to throw it out there. That's,
what he did in the past,
a consistent slot receiver that, you know, you can probably figure in for like 15 points a game, maybe, you know, 7 receptions, another like 70 yards or something like that, or maybe a couple less receptions but a touchdown, you know, to make up for it.
I'm usually apt to load up on the running backs and switch out the wide receivers. It just seems to be the way it goes for me. I usually, you know, last year I had Derrick Henry, and he usually never lets me down until he got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt, man.
He's usually reliable, and
I saw when that started happening. Because they started taping him up on the side. I'm a Titans fan, so they were taping him up on the sideline. I was over at my buddy Dalton's house watching this game. He's a Colts fan. I'm like, we shut him down for the rest of the game. This win-loss, forget it. They kept running him for the rest of the game. He missed the rest of the season, and then came back against the Bengals and just wasn't in.
Wasn't as effective as he should have been.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's this thing called being in game condition, and he wasn't in game condition.
They weren't intimidated by him.
Not only that, but they should have been utilizing Deontay Foreman a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's what they should have been doing.
Speaking of your buddy Dalton, he just chimed in on Facebook. He said, and I'm with him on this one. This is going to be my take. Running backs is what I'm going to be loading up on because there are way more wide receivers out there.
And there's guys that are not even on the radar right now that you're going to find. Like, because there could be people who are
feature backs are there in the league right now? 8, 9
feature back. I think that you're right there. I'm
talking a running back that's going to get you 18 plus points a week.
I'll say 6 to 10.
Right.
6 to 10, and
so
that's
8's average.
Yeah. No, right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm right there with you. Like, maybe there's a little bit more. Who knows if you get a bounce back from a Josh Jacobs? Who knows what we're going to see out of Darrell Henderson or Cam Akers? Who's going to be the lead back in LA? I mean, that's a great take. But I'm a running back guy all day long.
I'm loading
as
up
long
on
as I can get them. Yeah. All right, real quick here before we finish out this segment, I got 2 names. You tell me which guy you want to go with. We're going to start with K-Man Rick on this one because he answered the question a little bit earlier. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, you got a choice for quarterback. Which guy you going with?
This coming up season, I'm going to go with Josh Allen. I think he's got the better weapons around him right now. You know, Patrick Mahomes losing Tyreek Hill, a guy that he's had like the whole entire time. I think that changes the whole dynamic. It might change his mindset and the way he even approaches the game. So, and all we've seen with Josh Allen is just a progression since he came into the league. So why would it like plateau now? I think he's just still on the ascension.
I'm going to go Mahomes here. I think there's a revenge factor here.
I love that take.
I mean, I know he got Josh Allen in that game, but you know what a matchup that was in the divisional round. But you know, him getting beat at home by my Bengals, I think you're going to see a reinvigorated Patrick Mahomes this year.
I'm going to go Josh Allen, but with a little bit of hesitation because of games like that. So he was going so hard the whole time. Can he keep doing that at that level and stay healthy?
Yeah.
I mean, Mahomes is real elusive, and he's, he stays pretty healthy, but Josh Allen's going head first. He's not sliding very often. So, I mean, I'll take him, but with a little hesitation.
I like that. I would say that if we're looking at straight points, it could be Josh Allen because of what we talked about earlier, the mobility factor, the option of when you're in the red zone, there's a chance that he's going to fake it to Stephon Diggs, run the opposite way, and find himself on the inside of the pylon.
Real quick, Dalton Cope wants to hear our sleepers. I've got one.
Okay. Sleepers at what position?
At any position. He just said sleepers.
Don't put Kyle on the
No.
spot.
I had one.
Okay.
Travis Etienne.
Oh, I like that because he could be that defining factor for T-Law this year, right? Like the guy who's just the safety blanket because he didn't have him last year.
They know
James
each other
Robinson,
really well.
I think, is going to be hurt to start the year. I'm not positive about that. So Travis Etienne, I think, that's a great sleeper. You got a sleeper?
Yeah, I mean, not that it's a great sleeper, but Allen Robinson in his new situation. I mean, because some people they might have forgot about him by now, and having that setup, I think they could sleep on him.
I'm drawing a blank right now. I can't even think of a good one to be honest.
OBJ, I think, coming back week 6 maybe. Could be a good sleeper. Get you into the playoffs.
I'm going to go with one, and this is I'm going to say Kyle Phillips, who is a rookie coming in with the Tennessee Titans. Everybody's talking about Treylon Burks, but it looks like he's dealing with asthma and hasn't been, a part of the majority of practices. I think this guy from UCLA could be a defining factor there.
Another one, J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins is a great one, actually. That's a good one. I'm trying to think of some of the guys that we almost forgot about, but then they revitalized in this year. You know what I mean? Like
Dalton, who's your sleeper, buddy?
Yeah, who is your sleeper, Dalton? That would be a good one. I'm over here waiting on a Facebook comment to talk back to me. We're going to go ahead and head to a break. We'll get Dalton's sleeper when we get back. We're going to recap the NHL draft just a little bit and then hop back into some of these questions.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Braves country.
A rainmaker ties the game.
Tonight, Charlie Morton and the Atlanta Braves take on the Washington Nationals. The red-hot Atlanta Braves just 3.5 games out of first place. First pitch at 6:20. Coverage starts at 6 right after the Afternoon Underdogs. On your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast, it's 102.1 and 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale. Keeping your car looking great is easy as 1, 2, 3 at Blue Sky Express Car Wash. By joining their monthly wash club, you'll get the best bang for your buck. In just 2 car washes, your monthly membership pays for itself, starting at only $19.99 a month. What are you waiting for? Become a member today at Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road next to Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hale sent you.
That Boot Store invites you to stop by and help celebrate the opportunity to live in the greatest country on God's green earth, the good old USA. That Boot Store is proud to carry the highest quality American-made boots, along with a complete line of Western accessories. Next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street, open Tuesday through Thursday 9 till 5, Friday and Saturday 9 to 5:30. And remember what Joe always says, put Jesus in your life every day.
Trying to figure out where to eat with a family or group of friends that can't agree on what they want is hard.
Well, not anymore. Jin Jin Super King has something for everyone with extensive options including top quality seafood, hibachi, and even a sushi bar.
They're open 7 days a week for lunch and dinner for dine-in, or you can call them at 850-238-8589 for takeout.
Come enjoy Jin Jin Super King Buffet today. 9802 Front Beach Road next to Wonderworks.
It's the cooling season, and time to call Steverson Air Conditioning for your preventative maintenance to keep your air conditioning system operating at full capacity. Steverson Air Conditioning has preventative maintenance programs, and they service all makes and models. Steverson Air Conditioning offers air duct cleaning. Steverson Air Conditioning has after-hours service and free estimates on a system change-out or duct cleaning. Call them at 248-1109.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. Starting Monday, July 11th. Listen weekday mornings to Coach Hale at 8:15 and the Afternoon Underdogs at 4:45 to win a prize pack and get qualified for the 5-year flyaway. From 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, and we are your home for the 5-year flyaway to see the Atlanta Braves. Speaking of those Braves, we got Charlie Morton on the hill tonight. First pitch starts at 6:20. Coverage starts at 6 o'clock. Man, all right, let's recap the NHL draft. Man, 6 minutes again. How do we always get into this segment so late? Recap the NHL draft, and then we'll jump back into some fantasy
we can talk
football
more
if we have
about
time.
it next week. But,
Yeah, we got
just
a whole offseason to talk about.
Just real quick, though. Last night, a couple of Slovakian players were drafted first and second overall. No North American players. First time I think that ever happens. That's kind of crazy. Only 2 Russians drafted. Through the first 32 teams, mostly due to the situation where people don't know if these players are going to be able to come across and play over here. Real quick, my Flyers got a goaltender.
Yeah, I'll tell you that later.
That got sent to Siberia. So, anyways, it looks like he's gonna be coming over to play. So, not a lot of crazy trades or kind of moves last night. Nothing like blowing anybody's minds out of the water. I think there's more to come tonight. Actually, I think if you guys follow the NHL draft tonight, you're going to see a lot of more moves tonight as opposed to last night.
I thought the NHL draft's over.
No, it was only first round last night.
Yeah, but they've already done the rest of the rounds today.
Oh, it's all done by now? Okay, I thought they still had some more to do.
Yeah.
Real quick, couple sleepers from Facebook. Dalton Cope says Alan Lazard is his sleeper.
I like that one, Green Bay.
Greg Calvert, G-Man saying Paris Campbell.
How many rounds? We're off. We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Paris Campbell for G-Man, and then we have third caller on the line.
Oh, third caller. You just won yourself a gift card of $25 to Rib Crib. Also a 12-pack of Buffalo Rock with a Pepsi swag bag. Who's on the line with us?
Hey, Dave, it's Rob. How are you?
Oh, Rob. What's going on, my man?
Not much, man. I'm just going to call and say that next week's going to be a big week. Rib Crib's moving to this side of town, and it's going to be the 5-year contest.
Yes, sir. So that starts Monday, man. 8:45.
Starts Monday, right?
Yes, sir. Starts Monday every morning, 8:45 and 5:15 in the afternoon. 8:45 a.m., 5:15 in the afternoon. Be caller number 5, and you'll be entered. You still win something, but you'll be entered for the 5-year flyaway, which we're going to have premier tickets to the Atlanta Braves. Your flight's taken care of. You're going to have an Uber for you and some spending money as well.
Man, that sounds like a great thing. I've been to Fulton County Stadium. I went to Turner Stadium 2 games, and now I'm waiting to go to the new stadium up there.
Oh, wow.
So I guess you went on the company just to side everything out, make sure all the gifts and all were doing.
He was the
good
preview,
up there.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Rob, I can't root for anyone, but you've been to you've been to Turner. I need you to get to Truist, bro, because it is such a beautiful park.
I'm going to Truist one way or the other.
There we go.
Decided we're going this year. It's still a little bit hot to be sitting waiting.
Hey, get you some seats in.
Wait for a September night game.
Well, definitely do that, but get you some seats in section. I believe it's 130 or 143 and 144, and you'll be underneath. You'll be in the shade the whole entire game.
What about the ones that are right above the bullpen? What did you?
Right above the bullpen. Well, if you're in one, I think it's like from 140 maybe to 144, you'll be in front of the visiting bullpen. If you're over in right field near the chop house, you're closer to the home bullpen. But you're straight in the sun over there, bud.
Oh, well, I'm going to a night game. So
there you go.
Sorry about that. All right, man. Y'all have been great this week. It's been a pleasure listening to y'all. So.
Thank you.
I'll be in touch with you.
All right. Hey, thank you so much. That's Lynn Haven Rob, y'all. We appreciate the kind words. We've only got 3 minutes here. Y'all want to get back into some fantasy football? All right, let's do it. You guys sound so excited. Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, which wide receiver you going with?
After the season Cooper Kupp had last year, I think I'd go with Jamar Chase. Kupp's going to have a target on him. Everybody's going to be gunning for him, knowing what he can do. So I think Jamar Chase has a chance of having a better year.
This is going to surprise you, but I'm going to go Cooper Kupp. I think the offense in Cincinnati is going to be a little bit more spread out with the weapons that he has. I mean, T. Higgins is going to be another probably top 10, top 15 wide receiver in the league. And you've got Jamar Chase there. Joe Mixon's there. They finally have a pass catcher and tight end with Hayden Hurst. So I think you're going to, in that offensive line, and Burrow's going to have time to find weapons as opposed to force feeding Jamar Chase like he had to sometimes.
Yeah, that's a great take.
Yeah, I'm a caveman. I think Jamar, it's hard to do what Kupp did again, back to back especially. But to do that again, that's tough. It's a lot of pressure.
Jamar Chase and Burrow, the chemistry that they have is amazing. The chemistry that Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp have, though, might be just a little. And
It's like Montana and Rice.
Burrow and Chase are young, right? But Cooper Kupp wore Matthew Stafford's jersey to sign that big lucrative deal that he got. Well, could have gotten more, but still, I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp in this situation. All right, let's keep it quick here. Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry's gotten the injuries. JT's pretty fresh. Go with JT.
I'm going to go Derrick Henry here.
Derrick Henry.
Love it, man. This is tough for him because both of these are AFC South running backs.
Yeah. It hurts.
I know.
It hurts either way. It hurts for me.
I'm going Henry. Maybe the bias in me. I think that overall in the fantasy world, though, Jonathan Taylor actually has it. That, you know what I mean?